What do I love about my hair? I've always loved my hair because growing up, certainly, I was first generation born here in England. My parents are from Jamaica, so what used to happen in Jamaica, which is what my mum did. Growing up and going to school when I was in juniors, my hair was natural, and my mum would plait it for school. I didn't have anything to compare it to. I just thought that, it was okay. Now looking back on the photographs, I kind of think, what on earth was my mother thinking when she plaited my hair in some of the styles that she did? But as I got older into teenage years, what my mum would do then is what we call pressing our hair. I've just pressed my hair with a hair comb that my mother used to press my hair with when I was a young girl growing up. And this is the hair that's been straightened by the hot comb. We used to heat it on the cooker or on a paraffin heater for the heat. And when the comb got hot, we'd comb it through the hair to make it straight. And I realise now that back then it was all about black women having straighter hair. Straight hair was more acceptable because it looked closer to a white woman's hair. And I think that came from slavery and colonialism and habit and the need to fit in. And just remembering that the last time I straightened my hair with a hot comb, I was about probably 17 and a half, 18 years old. And I'm in my 50s now, and that's the first time for such a long time I've actually put a hot comb into my hair. It just brings back so many memories of sitting in the kitchen with my mother as she took parts of my hair and just put the comb through it and told me how beautiful it looked after it was straight. And I had very long hair then. The only problem was, or the only issue was, when you went out and it was and it was very hot and you were sweating, your hair would shrink back to its normal, natural, what was then called nappy state. So that was the only thing. Or if it got wet in the rain, and you'd have to do the whole process all over again. As I got to about 19, was the first time I decided that I didn't want to press my hair anymore. And I went to a white hairdresser's actually, and they would test my hair. Well, I went there to tell them I wanted to put some chemicals in my hair. Perm just allowed my hair just to be not tightly curled, but just loosely curled. And then a few years after that was when the what was called the chemical perm for black women became very popular then. And I went to a hairdresser to have that done, and then that was it, because I knew that they could relax the hair. It almost looked like a cream. They put it on there, but you knew when it had taken, because it would start to burn, and then that's when they would wash it out. Sometimes you'd come, your scalp's kind of got sores on them and things, but you can kind of get over that, because really you think, your hair is kind of more manageable that way then. For me, what I was able to do then was to have it in loads of different styles. I could have it up, I could have it down, I could have it straight, I could have it curly. But I just love that flexibility. I played around with my hair. My hair was the biggest thing that I kind of spent money on, I have to admit, and carried on with a relaxer for decades. But during that time when I went to work, I was able to wear lots of different styles, and I got labelled, oh, is this a new girl that's coming again today? Because I've got a different style and no one recognised me. And I'd have it in plaits, not single plaits, but I'd have like a French plait down the back of my hair, or I'd have it curly. I'd part it in different ways and pin it up with like slides and things like that. So yeah, I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. And now as I've got older, the chemical relaxer wasn't as popular and isn't as popular now. So I then decided that I was going to grow out the relaxer in my hair because I wanted to go natural. And that was a conscious decision to do that. I love lips. I really do. I love looking at other people's lips, especially full lips, and I love my lips. I love using different coloured lipsticks to make them really stand out. I find that I've got kissable lips. I absolutely love my lips. And I just find that it just defines. I can wear no makeup at all whatsoever, but when I put my lipstick on my lips, I just feel, yeah, I feel good. I walk tall and I feel confident, and um, never really had any hang-ups about my face or my features. Back in the when I was young and at school, a lot of the black kids got teased about the lips. They used to be called rubber lips. And some of the black kids themselves, especially the boys, used to make fun of the black girls, saying, "Yeah, yeah, go on, rubber lips." But I look back now and I think it probably was a term of endearment. Um, but having full lips um, was what most of the black girls and the women that I know always had. And I always found it really interesting that, and it's interesting now over the last few years, how white girls now are wanting big, full lips. But you know what's even more wonderful and amazing is the fact that ours came naturally. We don't have to inject ours to make them look full. So I do think that white women maybe are jealous of the fact that we have full lips, but they have to pay for theirs, and ours came free. How do I feel about my nose? Um, I like my nose. It's not really flat, but it's not straight and narrow as some parents might have wanted their children's noses to be. I suppose as a baby, I do remember parents who would squeeze their child's nose to try and make it as straight as possible. I think I've even heard stories about pegs being put on their noses when parents or family members used to try and straighten their babies' noses. I think that I think that my personal opinion is that I think that harks back to the colonialist um, thinking that, the straighter your nose, the much more acceptable it was going to be. Um, yeah, I do think that's wrong. It's about society accepting you as a different race of people. That there's we're going to come in different shapes, sizes, colours, skin tones, and everything else. I do remember as black people back then, I'm talking back in the 70s and 80s, we used to get teased about flat noses, and even our own community, people in our own community would talk about, people's noses being too big or too flat or nostrils were too wide. And but I've never really had a hang up about my nose at all. Um, it's not, like I said, it's not completely flat and it's not straight either, but I just see it as my nose and I love it. Skin. I love the skin I live in. I love it, love it, love it. I've always, from as early as probably my teens, when I was buying my own skincare products, I've always looked after my skin. Um, and I pay particular attention to all the creases in my fingers and the creases of my elbows and my knees, and um, yeah, I've always, back in the days, we used Vaseline to cream our skin, which is probably going to be absolutely unheard of now. So yeah, we would go to school shining. Our face would be greased with Vaseline, and our arms and legs would be greased, so much so that, and that was all about trying to make sure that our skin didn't look ashen, really grey and unkempt. So everybody's skin used to shine. Um, but I've always looked after my skin. But I have been complimented on my skin. I remember one day I was walking with a white woman and she brushed past me on my forearm and she said, "Oh my gosh, your arms are so soft. How do you get them so soft?" I was like, I moisturize and cream my skin. Um, and I'll take pride in making sure that I feel nice. And part of that is just being in touch and noticing. And you only get to know your body and your skin by paying attention to it. And that's what I love doing. Yeah, I just love it. I love the color. I love the color. I love the shade of my skin. And I love it even more when I feel the sun on my skin. It just makes me feel really, really good. Yeah.